What is it with you? What do you got, a death wish or something?
That's what it takes. I just want to race.
What's up, Diesel heads, and welcome to a special episode of the Chronicles of Diesel. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about a movie we just watched on this fine Thursday evening. I almost said Wheelman. I legit
There's some
was
Wheelman
starting to
elements for
say
sure.
Wheelman. We saw F9, The Fast Saga. My name is Ethan, and with me on this fine Thursday evening is Devin.
Jacob! Because that's the only quote I can remember. There was a couple, but I don't remember the exact words. So I was just like, let me just do the safe one, which is I remember at one point he yells Jacob, which I guess is a spoiler, but really it's not.
I'm in his heart.
He
Tell
says,
him
he
that
says
was a
another
good
character's name.
Yeah. One of the questions was, "Where's God?" I think he asked the kid.
Yeah, that was yeah,
or something like that. I'm always in your heart too. But yes, we saw F9, The Fast Saga. I think that's the actual title of the film is F9, The Fast Saga. Right, or Fast and Furious 9.
It's F9 : The Fast Saga. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Which is weird because The Fast Saga is the franchise, I guess.
So yeah,
right?
but making it seem like a subtitle. But
Exactly. It's kind of like whatever. The Fast Saga : F9. I don't know. Whatever. They should have just had the balls to call it just F9. If you don't know what this is, then clearly it's not for you.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Literally, if you look at the marketing, it's just a big F9, then it says the Fast Saga. But even if I didn't know what this was, the Fast Saga is not going to tell me anything besides.
That's true. It doesn't say the Fast and the Furious.
If I look up the Fast Saga before this movie came out or was even announced, I don't know if Fast and Furious would have came up necessarily.
Yeah. Interesting.
I think if you just looked up Fast and Furious, Google, on Google, then maybe. But I don't know, it's an interesting title for sure. I don't know, but outside the title, I mean, the marketing has always been pretty cool for this movie, with the poster having all the different color smoke,
which
and the different type
I'm
of
not
cars.
sure if
on
that was actually in the movie. The different colored smoke.
I think it just looks cool.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
just
take
a way.
star
I
away
think
from
to.
it.
I think it was a way to highlight the fact that there are many different types of people in the movie, on the team. That's why they're different colors. But yeah, we saw this movie. We're gonna open up with some spoiler-free thoughts. So I'd like to ask you a spoiler-free question: did you like this movie? And if so, more than 8, which we haven't gotten to yet for the actual show proper. But we both, at the time of watching it then, agreed that it was the best one easily, and
we
was
liked
awesome.
the most. Yeah,
and that's one of the reasons why we're actually doing this show at all.
Yeah,
So-
that, honestly, I don't know if F8 wasn't as good as it was. I don't know if Chronicles of Diesel exists.
Right.
I really don't know if it exists. But I will say I liked it a lot. I went in pretty hyped. I think going out as soon as June 1st hit our calendar, I was like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, we have 24 days till F9. I don't know why I was so hyped, maybe just because I'm just the movies are back, and this is a popcorn movie, right? Fast and Furious is a popcorn movie.
Oh, we got popcorn.
Oh, we got popcorn.
We got fucking metal Fast and Furious tin popcorn
that spin
containers. Yeah, they're made of 3 rotating segments.
Which I was thinking, are these going to be the tires on a vehicle? No. It just looks cool.
It just says the Fast and the Furious. It doesn't even say F9. It just says the Fast and the Furious.
Only in theaters.
Yeah. Does it say it on there too?
Yeah.
That's not going to be true anymore.
Yeah, literally, I have a DVD set at home here.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I liked it. Had some really cool moments that I think outshine. I think past movies we've seen that I'm just this is the same franchise that did this.
Right.
Now we're here, and I'm holy shit, and I'm glad they don't care anymore. I think that's what I was saying. I went in going hyped, getting hyped, but I don't think at the same time I had any expectations of this better be such a crazy, elaborate, in-depth story. Like, I had a feeling it was going to be cheesy, and it was, and I enjoyed it. I had fun, and I'm glad we saw opening night, because I think this is going to be one of those movies that I look back on 20, 30 years from now.
We saw opening night.
I'm going to be like, hey, Ethan, remember when we saw F9 opening night?
You remember when we caused an entire row of seats to not be sitting in the right spot?
I guess, yeah.
That was us. And it could be on me, could be on you.
We both looked at it. I could have sworn we were sitting in the right seats, but whatever.
But the thing, you sat in F9, and I forgot because you bought the tickets. I'm like, F9 and F8. Yeah, because Fast and Furious 9, and we loved 8. And so I sat in 8.
It was
but
F10.
like, you should have walked to F10. You should have
in...
walked one seat forward.
Yeah,
but
I just misread it, I guess.
It's whatever.
I'll take whatever. It wasn't that big of a deal.
One guy was like weirdly trying to be like
assertive.
We got a problem, so you all got to move. And the other people were like, "It's okay, dude, chill." Like,
and the movie just started. I'm like, you had the entire 30-minute trailer to 30-minute trailers
absolutely.
to say something. Not my fault. You came in late.
There were people coming in even later than that.
I don't get how that happens.
My best part about that guy, he kept playing musical chairs with the person sitting next to them. I kept looking over. I know you noticed it a couple times too, but they kept doing it.
I tried
and
to
eventually,
avoid distractions.
in the third act, they just got up and left. Like, bitch, you didn't even care about this movie then. What the fuck? You didn't care about this movie. Whatever. You come in late and you leave early.
Yeah. But so yeah, we kind of actually missed
back to the movie itself.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I really liked it. I don't want to say I loved it, but I don't want to say I loved it. I don't think this is my favorite Fast movie necessarily. I will say though, some of the set pieces I think are some of my favorites. So, but as a movie as a whole, I don't think it's better than F8. I guess. But at least it did hit my expectations at the very least. Didn't exceed them, but it hit my expectations, and I'm like, cool. I'm glad I saw this.
For me, I wanted to piggyback off something you said earlier. So you said this is the same franchise that gave us those earlier movies, which we have been covering on normal episodes of the Chronicles of Diesel. Technically, the last one we saw was 4. We jumped straight from 4 to 8 in our terms of recent memory, right? We watched the movies beforehand, back before we even started this podcast. And I like to compartmentalize the movies as like the first one is a classic, but it ain't great. Second one's awful. That's like the bottom. And the third one is like, I kind of group that in there. It's awful. There's something to love though. They each have something to love, but they're terrible. And then 4 is an attempt to make it great, or attempt to bring it back rather, to be serious. 5 and 6 to me are we're making serious action movies. We're trying to make serious action movies. 7 unfortunately had the Paul Walker dying, which screwed it up. It could have potentially been on the level of 8, and I think it was trying to be. But 8 and 9 to me are the balls to the walls, who gives a fuck. You saw the trailers, folks, so like you saw the fact that they released in astronaut suits at one point. They're willing to, like, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? I saw a tweet a couple days ago from Fast and Furious popped up as an ad tweet. It was like, click this to start the timer and see if you can help the Fast family race through the landmines. And scroll all the way down. It's just emoticons trying to be like a racetrack through mines or whatever. And then there's like gifs of the movie from the trailer, right? And like tap the heart to see what your score is. And I'm like, I'm not clicking that. I'm not falling for that. But they're willing to do that in F8 and F9. F8 was our favorite one because they went fucking crazy with zombie cars and all that shit, right?
Yeah, it's been a minute now, so like they're kind of blending in. But I just remember evil Vin Diesel. That's all. Yeah, I remember.
Right. And this movie also has. Yeah, this movie is very similar in that regard. So like we're going in off of F8, expecting more F8, and we got more F8. Honestly, there are two main things about it: the craziness and the fact that there's an attempt at a personal story. Right. F8 was a personal story. F9 is a personal story. But obviously there needs to be a global thing.
I would say even more so than F8. Not whether or not they executed it is a different conversation. But in terms of attempts, I think F9 is even more. I mean, not even just for one character, for other characters as well. There's more backstory that we get that we've never seen before. This really felt like a movie that pulled from everything every movie at some point. I think there was literally a reference to every single Fast movie in this movie.
Yes.
I don't go into spoilers, but there is a couple. There was even one where like it was super quick, and I'm like,
yeah. You pointed out to me, and I'm like, yeah. Yes, 100%. I mean, they were willing to reference that in the video game that we haven't played, but I know exists. So yeah, 100%. Almost like an Avengers Endgame type of scenario where we're going to reference every movie at least a tiny bit.
This felt more like an Infinity War than an Endgame, but yeah, generally the same effect, where it does reward you for knowing everything if you've watched these movies.
Well, to me, the thing you mentioned is the same as when Hulk in Endgame picks up the newly made gauntlet or whatever that they made and says it was made of gamma radiation. It's like, I was made for this. The one time they'll reference his shitty ass movie, right? And so, like, yeah, this movie has those types of things in it. But overall, yeah, I liked it a lot. To me, if I were to place this, and we haven't yet actually ranked Fast and Furious 5 through 9 now, and even well, I guess Vin Diesel isn't in Hobbs and Shaw, so we won't do that for the Chronicles of Diesel. But that one included, right? I forget about that movie because unfortunately, it was just weirdly okay at being crazy and awesome. It was okay at being crazy and awesome. It had 3 actors with better charisma in terms of even just acting and action scenes than Vin Diesel, yet it still wasn't as good as
Vin Diesel,
which is weird. Odd. But keeping those 3 movies in mind and all that, I don't know if I would place this above F8, but like, I'm not disappointed in what I saw. I was expecting, worse out of some actual story beats. I was expecting worse. I was expecting just awesome action and just kind of lame ass like, and I love you type of stuff, and that didn't do that. It was a little bit better than that.
As soon as you realize that Fast and Furious is a soap opera with cars, and you buy into that, it rewards you. It rewards you after, I think, like the 4th movie. You can even go back to the first one, but like more so in the 4th onward. And this one is the same thing. So if you're going into this movie expecting it to take itself super seriously in terms of whether it's realism or just like dialogue or relationships with people, don't. But also buy in at the same time to the relationships, to the action, and all that, and it will reward you.
Yeah. This does feel like an anime in the sense that the characters will see someone do something crazy with the car, and it's no different than, like, we're all ninjas in Naruto, but this guy used ninjutsu to do something we've never seen before, so we're all staring in awe, but it's a guy with a car, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, yes, this is car anime.
Remember in F8, where they all have Vin Diesel surrounded, they're all in their cars, they all have Vin Diesel surrounded, and they all tether him. And he starts to just turn and he flips them all over. You know what I mean? It's like no one came to watch a street race. Like they came to watch street race culture in the first 3 movies. You know what I mean? So cool. We both liked the movie. We weren't disappointed in it. Overall, I want to ask, spoiler free now, how do you think, and I'm going to rocket fire these 3 questions so you can build them together. How do you think Vin Diesel was in this movie? How do you think the supporting cast was in this movie in terms of character development or just importance or yada yada, their utilization? And do you think John Cena's character was worth it?
So the first question, Vin Diesel, I think he was all right in this. His character, up until this point, has had plenty of moments where it grows, but not really at the same time. And we get a little bit more of that in this, I think. We learn more about him, though, at the same time, but not in the sense of growth, but rather of just backstory, which I liked, but at the same time, that's not Vin Diesel's acting. But I did like, in certain terms of the character, cool. I'm glad. But Vin Diesel's performance I thought was all right. If anything, I think he took a step back, but not in a negative way or a bad way. I just think I'm not saying he did this himself, and it wasn't the director who did this or whoever wrote the script, but I just feel like everyone else had more time to shine in this film. Like, Vin had his moments. Like, Vin Diesel himself. Not saying Dominic Toretto. I'm saying Vin Diesel himself. There's a couple, like, action scenes we get where I feel like Vin just is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I was okay with it. I'm like, no, it isn't just him.
Right.
You know, maybe in the past they make it about him maybe too much. No, he's not. He's not here. Well, he is here, but he's not in this scene.
Yeah.
There's some really cool moments they have with, you're talking about the supporting cast. I think some of the supporting casts all have, like, one big moment. If anything, I think they gave some love to...
Michelle Rodriguez?
Yes. I also want to give Ludacris and Tyrese Gibson. They both had, I think, more lines. I just felt like they had more lines than they normally do, and I'm glad they did because I think they have a cool dynamic going, and I want to see it fleshed out even more. Like, I would actually love a standalone film with just them. I think it could be something you could do, like a Hobbs and Shaw. Like, if you just want to do a spin-off of just them, their backstories together at some point. Maybe they did a job together. I don't know.
They met in Too Fast, Too Furious. Paul Walker introduces
I'm saying,
them.
like, do something, like, in between.
I see.
It's like, whatever. Like, they did an odd job together that they didn't.
Not spoiling this movie, but it is possible. It's possible. 100%.
Yeah. I thought, I thought everyone had their shot, or not their shot, their scene, and they did a decent job. I know in the Chronicles of Diesel, the news, VNN, if you listen to that show, VNN, we talked about where Vin said or not Vin, but the F9 marketing made it, was trying to push that, like, the women characters, they really tried to make an effort to give them scenes, and I feel like they did that. I still wish it was a little bit more, though.
100%.
They did that more,
100%.
though, than other movies, for sure, where they're not always being saved or whatnot. Like, they have their own scenes where they do cool shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, without spoiling anything, there's definitely a few, like, moments I straight up see where I'm like, this could look hackney in someone's eyes, you know, how some people are. But it was cool. And I do think, no spoilers, they did make an effort to make Michelle Rodriguez's character just as cool as the other people, and it was show, don't tell. You know what I mean? Like, other movies, or maybe worse attempts at doing this movie, could have had a character say how cool and badass she is.
You're really good back there.
Exactly.
Something
I
like
mean,
that.
maybe there's a couple lines where, like, Vin Diesel might compliment her on something she did in a vehicle. You know what I mean? But, like, she shows it a lot. You know what I mean? They definitely made an effort, so I agree with that.
But on to John Cena. Jacob.
By the way, just a quick question.
Yeah.
Before you jump into Jacob, what did you... I'm not sure if the marketing said what his name was. What did you think his name would have been?
Bruce.
Yeah, not a Jacob, right?
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, they could have just said John, and I would have been like, yeah.
Dom and Jacob. Now, granted, mixed bloodline, you know what I mean? So there's probably different influences on naming your kids. But, like... Or the family might name, you know? Interesting.
But in terms of what... Was he worth it without going any spoilers? Yes and no. I thought it could have led to... Well, they could have done many other different things, and they didn't. Which I was kind of disappointed in. I'm not saying it's bad that they brought him in. I'm all for John Cena. John Cena brings his own repertoire to action films. He's shown it in the past. I would put him right up there with The Rock. Maybe not up there with The Rock, but he's in that mix of people that, like, if he's in a movie, I'm probably going to watch it at some point, whether it's in the movie theater or on streaming
It must be
services.
entertaining to a degree.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And I think he had some really cool moments, and they made him badass, though. So I think that makes it warranted. Like, for me, that's warranted then. That overshadows maybe some of the negative story parts that he had that I didn't agree with, or I feel like they could have done differently. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think the cast helps this movie add more to the action and whatnot. So I think that there's a lot of positives here.
For me, John Cena, and I'm not going to spoil anything. I have to keep reminding myself of this so that I don't spoil anything.
You're good.
It's less of a reminder for the audience that we're still not spoiling. But I feel like it wasn't worth it. Yeah, I would love to obviously to have John Cena in the thing, but like, you know, marketing trailers, you know, he is the long lost brother, you know, whatever degree, right, of Vin Diesel's character Dominic Toretto. And there is a lot of runway they can do stuff with. You know, obviously my brain, because I'm a gamer with a capital G, jumps to Uncharted 4, where it is like, long lost brother, and no one knew, right? Because he wasn't written into the previous ones as literally anything, and now they're writing him in, right? There's, you know, my brain jumps there and things that they could do. To me, and again, not spoiling anything, there was an opportunity to make the conflict super personal. And my issue with the series as a whole, starting from 4 onward, is that they just start to ramp up the stakes of what they need to save or stop. And it gets to a point where they just hit a ceiling of like the whole world. And instead of doing the brother has come back, maybe as a bad guy, or maybe as I need your help from this other bad guy, I'm in trouble. That's what Uncharted 4 did. They could have done that, but instead it was that to a degree, and then the whole world. You gotta stop. And I swear, and no spoilers, I swear the ultimate world-ending thing was from the past movie. I swear they did this before. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I was disappointed in that. And I feel like when you introduce a character that was supposed to already be a part of someone's life before 8 of these movies, integral, the guy that is all about family but neglects to mention his own, you got to actually make that worth it. And they didn't do it right. In my opinion, it was like there's a lot of explanation, but I don't really see why that prevents this story from happening sooner. Or the fact that certain characters don't mention him at all, that know he exists at all. Like, obviously, he didn't exist before this movie was starting to be written. Maybe in a previous one, they thought, what if Vin Diesel or Dominic had a brother, right? Maybe they thought that. But Fast and Furious 1, no. Obviously, that's the case. But they need reasons to really show why he's not being surfaced until now, and they just don't.
But I think this buys into... or this goes with the soap opera-ness. Soap operas
100%.
Really don't make sense. That's what I'm saying. If you just buy into that and don't overthink it too much, which I'm saying you can't or can't do, I just think like that's where my brain is, where I'm just like, who fucking cares? You're just here for the drama. Who cares if he was never mentioned before? Who cares if this character said this at this one point, or plot holes? Who gives a fuck? You're like the soap opera is there to carry you along to the next action scene. Mm-hmm. And that's okay.
I agree with that. Generally, though, for me, it's like it just took away.
There's definitely critiques that I have, but they're more spoilery, so I'm not going to say them.
Yeah.
That like I think they could have, if they wanted to take this to another level of in terms of its relationships between characters or whatnot. But I think they're really set in stone on being like, no, this is a soap opera with cars, which is fine. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I do wish them like, what if you made this like a hair more serious?
I think the fact that, and trailers shown this, they were willing or even eager to bring Han back, shows a dislike of killing off your characters because they could actually bring them back, right? Or whatever, right? They don't necessarily want that. And I'm not going to spoil anything about the movie. I'm not even alluding to the fact if anyone does live or die or whatnot, right? But I could tell from that, I'm like, deep down, what they really, really want is to Michael Jackson and Tupac in Paul Walker. Deep down, I know they just wish that they could just find a way to make that not feel awful. You know what I mean? Like that, they just want to have the people in. That they want the people. They want to have John Cena. They want to have Vin Diesel. They want to have, Tyrese and Ludacris do the same banter they've done for 4 movies straight. They just like having that more than having a serious plot.
Which is
so fine. Let's go into spoilers now.
By the way, I just think you can go. I think they were set in stone. We're not going to see. I'd be shocked, at least in this main series, if they ever do spin-offs, it's another story. I'm saying this main series here, Saga, that it's not gonna tread away from that recipe. I don't think.
Perhaps the next movie will, because it's supposed to be the last one, right? F10 is supposed to be the last one with that crew,
but I would love to be shocked. At the same time, I'm okay with change, but I understand that like the reason it's big and where it's at now is because of the cheese, because of the soap opera-ness, and because of the action and the stunts and all that shit.
Exactly. So we're gonna go into spoilers now, but we do recommend this movie. Obviously, we enjoyed it quite a bit. Like I said, like to me, it's right behind F8.
Well, actually, before we continue, though, would you recommend this movie to people who've never seen a Fast movie?
No. Because I'm of the standpoint, you got to start from the very beginning. I'm saying start from F1, Fast and the Furious. You got to start there, because in order to actually appreciate F8 and 9, and even 7 and 6, honestly, even 5, but they ramp up. You know, as I mentioned earlier, I have them in tiers.
Weirdly, they ramp up like perfectly.
Exactly.
Like
in order to actually appreciate this movie on the level that we enjoyed it, or like, the soap opera-ness, you know what I mean? You don't start a soap opera from season 4, you know what I mean? Because you don't give a fuck that she's pregnant, or that he's back in her life, or that he was, and soap operas do that, not dead. You know what I mean? Right? You got to start from the beginning. But to be quite honest, I mean, ignoring that frame reference, because I am the type of person that's like, I'm not going to play the new Ratchet and Clank till I play all the other ones in chronological order, and then I don't do that because it's fucking forever. Because I'm that type of person. If you were like, Ethan, you got to get into Godzilla, I personally would be like, I got to watch them all in order. And I'm being serious.
I wouldn't
there.
even tell you.
But regardless, I'm trying to make a point. Besides that part of me, and I do still agree with that for Fast and the Furious, you got to do that. Part of me still says no. You should at least watch 8 first, or 7, 8, 9, you know what I mean? Maybe even 6, 7, 8, 9, because Han is back and Han goes away in 6. If you really want to have an arc there, I don't think this movie will entertain as much on its own, because it does rely a lot on the past movies in ways that we enjoy. There's random lines and references that don't get any explanation. No spoilers. There's a character that doesn't give any explanation. You just know from a previous movie, right?
Or you forget.
And the guy sitting next to you, me, has to tell you.
Yeah, I'm just like, I have no idea. No, I agree with you. Granted, there's some people out there who legit just don't give a fuck, and honestly, I respect.
And they'll go see Endgame as their first Marvel movie.
And I'm
like, that was cool.
I'm like, good, good for you.
Obviously,
honestly, if you still get enjoyment,
there's different
out of it,
levels for going in.
Good for you. But no, I agree with you. I was just curious.
Yeah. So let's go into spoilers now. Spoiler time. Man, pretty good timing on the podcast. Time mark too. We gave a lot of good non-spoiler stuff. Let's give our spoiler stuff. Instead of recapping this movie, because I tried doing that on the car ride home to help myself remember, and it was tough at certain parts because they do a good job of splitting the cast up, giving people more time to shine, and it honestly works. So that it's hard to remember, and then there's
also
flashbacks,
and
and like, I live in Maryland. I've never left the country except for Canada. I'm not gonna remember Montebeek, and I feel really bad, but I don't remember what the place was called. So whatever. They go to Landmine City. You know what I mean?
Landmine Zone.
There's actually I think a documentary all about how basically all the landmines in the world are us. It's our fault.
Oh, I believe it.
Because we've just planted them there and left them and forgot them. And no one knows where they are.
There's a whole mile-long area in Vietnam that we just
that just no one can go.
That no one
because
wants to
they're
even take
buried
the
so
time.
deep you would have to by hand carefully pick through, because you can't excavate that shit. They blow up.
So they just no one go in there. Or if a deer goes in there, hopefully it.
Exactly. If you can evacuate the entire city, country even, and then just
drop some bombs,
roll bombs, or even just drone tanks just to drive over it. Kaboom, boom, boom, boom,
Robo
boom.
tanks.
You know how like when there's a missing person in a small town and the whole townspeople, they all line up in a line and just walk forward so that they can cover every square inch. You do that with tanks.
Oh my God.
In Landmine City. Let's just go back and forth between things we thought were cool or critiques or awesome moments, etc., etc. I want to begin.
Go ahead.
I think that, how do I want to put this? It's great that Han is back. It's great that Han is back. They didn't give him anything to do. And I'm not sure if it's because maybe he got a little bit overweight and he can't do the action stuff or doesn't want to. Maybe they just don't have a purpose for him because there's too many damn characters in this movie now because they keep bringing him back. They will bring Gal Gadot back, I guarantee it. When I saw the flashback that literally showed her and had her voice and all that, that's not something that they just get to do. They had to have her sign off on it. Maybe maybe they don't need her, but I guarantee, like, there was something there. She's going to come back. That's why I say, like, deep down, Universal wishes that they could Tupac in Paul Walker. You know what I mean? Because that would be the biggest, oh my God, how the fuck did they bring him back? He wasn't dead the whole time.
No.
So disrespectful.
Yeah.
So distasteful. But deep down, they wish that they could.
Oh,
they wish that they could.
You're telling me these millionaires don't want to, like, profit off of dead people? Yeah.
My issue with Han coming back, I think it's best to summarize it and how he explains how he got back to the crew.
Is ridiculous.
When Tyrese says, his character Roman Pierce, when Roman Pierce asks him, "How are you not dead?" and he explains something else entirely different that is unrelated to Tokyo Drift at all. And Roman Pierce says, "But how did you survive the crash?" And he's like, continuing to explain the thing with the little girl in the house that he robbed, and technically it might even been his fault that her parents died, but maybe not really.
I mean, he wasn't there. He made it seem like there's multiple people going after at the same time, and it was just a coincidence. Or it was one of those things like, oh, he got there first, but if he didn't get there, they wouldn't.
He goes to explain that more, and then very quickly it's just like, oh, Kurt Russell just has ways.
I forget Kurt Russell exists in this franchise, and every time I see him,
so great.
I'm just like, fuck yeah, fucking Kurt
Russell. Is he
Russell.
dead? I don't remember. Is he dead? Because he's not actually in the movie in the present at all.
Dead?
No, not Kurt Russell. His character, Mr. Nobody.
I don't remember, dude.
Because it opens with the distress
signal. He's still alive because I was second guessing.
No, he's alive. He's obviously
alive.
How did they film this movie?
I don't know.
I guess unless he recently died. No, because it's a distress signal, and then he's only in flashbacks, which is interesting. And he was like the best part of Furious 7.
Well, no, wasn't he in the beginning? They have him on the thing, and he's like, "Oh, I'm my ship or whatever." And
that's a distress signal that they received.
Was he on the plane?
He was never like interacted with any of the characters.
Whatever.
Besides Han in the flashback. Regardless.
No one's dead in this series.
Because going in, when we saw the trailer of Han's back, it's like, okay, in Tokyo Drift, and we watched this recently enough, Han does a drift wrong or whatever, car flips over, it's on fire, you see him in the car, and it blows up. Okay, but then there's some scenes, and I remember looking at this because I'm like, there is a lot of time showing the car from afar where you don't see Han. There's a lot of time where the car is still around and not blown up yet, and it's not on screen. It's like, okay, there's something there, right? Obviously, they could have said something happened in that time. But then, obviously, the end of Furious 6, Jason Statham walks up, stares Han in the eyes, tosses down a thing or whatever, calls Vin Diesel, and blows up the car, and walks away.
It was a retcon
and it's like,
originally, and then they did a retcon of the retcon.
Right. But then, that Furious 6 retcon is like very clearly like there's no way of getting out. And this retcon is like Mr. Nobody has ways, and he literally vanishes. It's like
what I thought was they perfectly executed it where he would land like over like a sewer thing, like a pothole, or what? Not pothole, but you know what I mean. The
grate,
and he Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle his way down and appeared behind him.
They literally don't have a reason because they can't think of anything because the way they edited Furious 6 doesn't allow for him to escape because he wasn't supposed to.
It was like, who cares?
Exactly.
Honestly, part of me wonders if they don't even show it. They're just like, he knows his ways. That would have been even cooler, I think, than even
I guess
bothering to be like, don't worry about it.
my issue with that all is because he's talking about being in Tokyo and what he was doing, and none of it related to Tokyo Drift at all. And none of it's trying to be like, he needed a couple lines where he was like, so I was laying low with this Yakuza gang or whatever. I was trying to do these small jobs.
Yakuza gang.
But you know, whatever, right? Trying to do this. No, it's just, if you didn't see that movie, if you did not see Tokyo Drift, if you started from 4 and moved onward, honest to God, you'd have no idea that what he was doing there at all. And like, obviously, doesn't need a lineup, yada yada. At one point, Kurt Russell's character, Mr. Nobody, says that Giselle, Gal Gadot's character, was doing jobs with him even before she's introduced in the franchise, which feels like a retcon in and of itself. But like, hey, this movie has no issue with just saying we don't give a fuck about these old movies.
Everyone's
You're willing to
connected in some
accept
way.
that this guy's alive. I don't care anymore, right? But what I do like and dislike at the same time, because I don't want to be like, you need to respect and love Tokyo Drift F9. Why don't you do that? I like that they had Sean, the main character of Tokyo Drift, back.
I was weirdly
and
hyped
I think
when
it's
that happened. It was a
great
great
that
twist.
they don't even say anything about him being in these movies. If you didn't know, you didn't know at all. Besides maybe the fact that he has a weird moment with Han in this hypothetical person's mind at the end of the movie. Besides that, it's like you have no idea, and I kind of like it.
And little Bow Wow was there too.
I think he's just regular Bow Wow now.
Whatever, but he was there too, and I don't remember the other person, so I'm guessing they were.
I don't think he was in the old movie, and if he was, there was an entourage in Tokyo Drift. Maybe he was one of them.
Yeah, but
at the same time, he's the one that says, "Who's Dominic Toretto?"
Yeah,
so maybe
weirdly
made me
enough,
think he was.
I will
new.
say this is gonna be shocking because I don't like Tokyo Drift. I didn't like Tokyo Drift. Listen to the past episodes. I don't like that movie. I will forever skip it. Now that we've watched it, I actually liked Sean's scenes more in this film than Han. Besides Han's reveal of him sniping people, which was cool, and then that was it really. He just
Batman's
eats
away.
Cheetos and talks for a couple scenes, and has like that one fight with the dude in the tank or whatever, the armored car. But besides that, like, they know Sean's character was kind of goofy and like weird, and they kind of they would put that to 11. Like, he's fucking trying to make a rocket ship car. You know what? Fuck yeah, dude. And he's goofy, and they like you could tell that the what's the actor, Lucas Black, the actor.
Yeah,
he's like, look, people didn't like the character, or maybe whatever, the casting choice might have been well, but like,
I'm able to be back. It's cool.
Yeah, and he looked like he was enjoying himself, and I'm like, you know 100%. What? Good for you. And I'm like, I'm glad you're back, Sean. I never thought I would say that, but I'm glad you're back.
Now, I will say this though. Time ruins everything. This man was like 35 years old when he played a 17-year-old kid back in 2004, whenever that movie came out. He looks ancient in this movie. And I'm like, dude, you were like a high schooler like recently.
I do my own retcon for Tokyo Drift. I just say like that was college. It was just a weird college. Okay. It makes me feel a little better. I'm like, he's in his late 30s now. Like 2004
for some reason,
was
mommy had to send him to Tokyo to live with daddy.
Yeah, like I try to retcon my own version of him to fit this mold. But you're right.
Honestly,
he
just has a really terrible hairline, which is unfortunate for him. But yeah, like I'm glad that they didn't try to be like, and he's gonna roll up in a car too. It's like, no, like he doesn't have to. The fact that he's here at all is good enough. The fact that he was in more than one extensive scene was good enough. You know what I mean? Bow Wow, not good at acting. Not in this movie at all. The other guy, the random third guy who just was there to say a couple weird random lines and help progress the plot about what they were doing locally, he was better at acting than Bow Wow was by far.
I thought Bow Wow was just sound like he was being himself and just didn't care. Yeah. But whatever.
Definitely made me appreciate and respect Ludacris a lot more for his acting ability. You know what I mean? I don't think he's amazing, but like, it's just like, oh yeah, like when I had heard that Ludacris was in the Fast and Furious movies, I'm like, his head had been pulling a favor and he just kind of stuck around. He probably is bad. I'm like, this is a perfect example that he's better. He's a good actor. And
I legitimately think he enjoys this shit. Like, they're in it for the long run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I said earlier in our non-spoiler section that I would love a Tyrese Ludacris thing. And I think it's totally possible. I think it's more possible than like any of the other characters besides Hobbs and Shaw, like in terms of a spin-off. I know they at one point they talked about doing an all-woman one. I'm not saying that's out of the
And
possibility.
they've introduced more women characters in this movie to make that happen.
Ludacris and Tyrese film can
for sure.
work.
For sure. Now, my critique, though, is that the two of them have been kind of been doing the same shtick ever since they got paired up in the franchise, unfortunately. Tyrese, I keep calling him Tyrese. His character's name is Roman.
Yeah.
Roman Pierce. Because Tyrese and Tej just melds better in my, you know what I mean? And I know Ludacris is his real name, but Roman is always going to say the weird things and talk way too much and be a bit of a dumbass, but like in a good way. And Tej is like the straight man and the funny man.
Yeah.
It's essentially it's that up. And they just do the same shtick in every movie. And like, I'm not bored or tired of it, but like if they were to do them headlining their own movie together, a la Hobbs and Shaw, Tej and Roman and Tej, you know what I mean?
I don't know. What do you call it?
Super Combo is the subtitle of Hobbs and Shaw in Japan. I know, I loved it. Wild Speed Super Combo, that was the name of the movie. I would hope that they give them something more to do there.
I think you would need to pull you need to bring like in a comedy actor or not actor, comedy director. I think to like. Because Jeremy Lin, right, is the guy who's been doing all...
Justin Lin.
Justin Lin, sorry. Justin Lin's been doing the last couple Fast movies. I think they should just pull in...
I don't think he did
Taika
Hobbs and Shaw.
Taika Waititi, right? That's his name?
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, pull him in. Someone like that. Or even like a... Seth Rogen. Like I know people don't like his comedy, but like just... someone like who has experience doing comedy films more than action films, and just I would think that'd be cool. But whatever.
I would, and I'm blanking on the fucking name. The guy that directed, I think it's Peyton Reed, directed Speed Racer, and also was going to be the director of Ant-Man, and wasn't, but he was the director of Baby Driver. It's not Peyton Reed. Peyton Reed was the actual director of Ant-Man. In any case. Wild, crazy. He has his own flair, and I feel like that would benefit the Fast and the Furious very well. Maybe not necessarily those two characters, but like I don't know.
Like Justin Lin, I think he knows what the recipe is. But if we ever do make new ones or like spin-offs, I would love if they just give like
Marvel,
like a director that you just never thought of would do one. Be like, you know what, do you want to make a Fast movie? Like, yeah, sure. You know what I mean? Like, put it on a trade block. Be like, does anyone want to direct a Hobbs and Shaw sequel who hasn't done a Fast movie before, or even an action movie before, who wants to take a shot at it?
Yeah,
you know, like it's gonna make money regardless. So like you could take more risks.
For sure, and they will just make the series indefinitely. If F10 is the last one with Vin Diesel and crew, Hobbs and Shaw will go on forever. You know, like they'll just make this go on forever.
Yeah,
they'll just do whatever they want. You know what I mean? I don't know if you have anything you want to bring up. Because I could keep going on other different things I think of.
I mean, I agree that I think Han's reveal was kind of wasted. Honestly, it just felt like he was just there, and just like he's back. But I'm like, okay, like, was he gonna do anything that's like? Is he gonna save the? I thought he was gonna come in by saving them at some point, but no, he kind of just is like, I know this other character that we need to further this plot along.
And which is lame. Honestly, it's lame. It's
a
localized plot.
That character, but just like it was just like
kind of like that. There was no reason for John Cena to not be in previous movies or in their lives at all before. There's no reason, honestly, why he couldn't reach out and be like, "Yeah, I'm alive." You know what I mean? In a way that's more than just you got a postcard once.
Yeah.
That you never pursued. you never want. Funny thing, if I was Han, I'd be like, the fuck didn't you look into this earlier, dude? Thought we were homies.
One scene I thought I liked, but I wish I loved, weirdly enough, was the scene with Helen Mirren playing Queenie.
Yes.
The old lady, British lady, UK lady.
The Statham mother.
Yes.
The Shaw mother.
Actually, I totally forgot that.
Which is weird that she was in this movie, but Jason Statham isn't.
Well,
I mean, like,
well, after credits, yeah, but
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh duh, I take that back.
Yeah,
Take that back.
but no, I just like that whole thing where like Vin's just there to talk to her, but she's in the middle of this heist basically, and he's just like whatever
To steal a necklace.
Yeah, just a necklace, but like he's in it like this is like a normal meeting, like this happens all the time, and I love that. I just wish it wasn't like on their way to for him to go see his brother, then like have that weird I just felt it was a weird like I'm gonna meet your brother at this mansion with all these women wearing white. I'm like, was it a bachelorette party? I was very confused. I was just like, I liked the transit, but I didn't like with the location of where he was going. I thought like she was gonna help him in some way and be in the movie maybe longer, but whatever.
Yeah,
There's a lot
he
of
just
cameos.
wanted to know where he was, and then she took him there, and then said bye.
Yeah,
I got a cool car.
I wish
and
they
a
could have done
necklace.
something different, but whatever. I'm not totally upset with it. That's why I liked it. I just thought it just felt weird. But yeah, and then after that we have Cardi B, which I totally forgot was in this movie.
Gosh,
But like I remember then when they announced it, and I'm like, and I thought she was fine. I'm glad she had her little cameo there. I know people in the audience I think liked it, so good for her. But like, but it was so goofy I found that good though because it was so goofy. Where it's just, I'm like, how is Dom's with Neopol? Like, what the fuck? Like, how is he gonna get out of this? And then like, or Interpol, whatever.
I was gonna say, what the hell's Neopol? Future Interpol.
Yeah, whatever. And like nope, they all know who it is. They were in on it or whatever.
Well,
like
I think weren't
I'm like,
they
cool,
in
whatever.
Weren't they in Fate of the Furious? I don't remember. Was it
That
Cardi
group of
B in
people?
that?
The Cardi B
There was
in
definitely
that.
an all women like badass group in
I
Fate
don't
of
know.
the Furious.
The way her dialogue was it felt like they were introducing her more than like, or like, who is this? Oh, just a friend that you know, of course. But I thought it was goofy and it kind of played on the whole like they always seem to get out of it, and like that was the whole messaging of the film though, is are we invincible?
Yeah.
And honestly, them doing that the entire time, I really thought like, I'm like, are they going to finally do it? Are they going to finally kill off like one of the main characters legitimately? Like, because they kept saying, "Oh, we're invincible." Like, I honestly thought them like, are they going to kill Roman and Tej?
Oh yeah.
At one moment, like when they did the satellite thing, I was like, because they kept,
It was them that were having the conversation.
yeah, and I'm like, is this going to be the moment? And I legitimately thought, and then like, no, it was over so quick. Like, nope, they're good. I'm like, what? So I was kind of disappointed with that.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of all over the place. But that's just like a couple of scenes that just like really spoke to me. I guess I was just like, oh, I like this, but I want to love it. But these are the reasons why, and I just feel like that was so quick. Them going through the satellite and like, oh, they're fine. Like there was no dramatic effect. Like I thought they were in a land.
They also, what was their plan on getting home? Because they
not.
hitched a ride on the ISS or whatever. But like,
But no, my
was
thought,
the plan?
My idea was going to happen is like, okay, they're gonna think they're dead, and at the end, they were gonna like land in like the backyard or some shit in their space car,
my God.
or they're gonna come down with the astronauts or something, you know. But I don't know. They keep saying all this like talk, and then like they don't act on it more. And that was one of my, I guess, critiques of the film is like you talk about this invincibility. I'm like, you keep saying that. It really does feel like that at the end of the film. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Han's back. No one gets killed or hurt, really.
well, Gal Gadot fell off a plane and crumpled on the runway.
She should have broke all her bones and
She's
bled.
dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, yeah, okay. Okay, number one, when he first brings that up, Han is still dead in their minds, right? So two of their friends that they did cruise runs with died. So why are they saying that they're invincible? Really, it's because they wanted to have the payoff with them, you know, in attacking the satellite. I want to talk about John Cena, but before that, I want to make sure we shout out the magnets. Going in before any of the trailers for this movie were shown, I was thinking about like, what crazy ass shit are they going to do next? Because it feels like they did it all. Even Fate of the Furious' zombie cars, and there was the submarine, and I'm like, man, what are they do next? And it was the magnets. That was the chaos, and doesn't make any fucking sense at all.
I knew where they were going to go to space, but I thought the space thing was going to be much more elaborate and much more insane. Like I thought they would be driving on the side of a space shuttle or some shit. Like legitimately, I was like, this is where it can only go from here. And they did it with just the car, going to space.
Which that car is in Rocket League now.
Is it? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
But granted that like this sets up the possibility that they could do more stuff in space in the future, and it wouldn't be as insane. I already think this is insane, but whatever.
I mean, Mr. Nobody could have a rocket. Like it, like they can literally
or they could fight
make
on
up
the
any
moon.
reason.
I don't care.
Yeah.
But no, go ahead. But I was just gonna say that like I thought the magnet thing was just gonna be like a one-off thing. It was pretty much the entire film after we.
Yeah, that was their. All right.
After the mines,
we thought of
they're
this.
like they went to the magnets, and then it was there.
Imagine if they combined those. How fucked that would be. You just.
I'm sure. I mean, the magnets would just come to you.
Well, no, because when they were
the
driving through
mines
the
would
thing,
come to
like the magnets were pulling cars and shit, and it was hitting behind them because they were driving too fast. It was kind of just yanking it in the horizontal direction as they were driving past, So maybe they could do that with the mines, but hey, that's how you solve the mine problem. That's how you solve. Taj at one point says you need to go 80 to drive over a landmine and not blow up.
Which I wonder if that's true.
I don't know.
That feels slow.
80? Yeah. I can go 80.
I feel like tanks... I know tanks aren't that fast, but like nowadays I feel like they can at least go 50,
maybe
right?
top 80. Maybe top 80.
But if you know that and you're in the military... I don't know. That's a military question. If someone here knows anything about mines...
I feel like the military doesn't care about getting rid of the landmines that aren't here. Because they're not here.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if anyone knows anything about explosives,
for the magnets, I thought it was very creative. They did a lot of cool stuff with it. They introduced it in a way that wasn't just we got this new gadget. You know what I mean? They introduced it as a thing the bad guys have for this one thing that they were doing unrelated to then how they use the magnets, which I thought was smart. Does bring into my thing of like, all right, they're operating on a short timetable in a sewer. How do they hook up all this equipment to get it to work? Who cares? How do they fix their cars? Who cares? Doesn't matter, right? But I thought there was a lot of creative things that they did about it. There were still moments where it was like when they flipped the giant convoy vehicle thing over.
Speed Racer.
Cool.
It just reminded me of the original Speed Racer cartoon movie where it was like a giant train like that.
Yeah, and they flip it.
Or I don't remember what they do. They make it explode from the inside or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. Armored train thing.
Again, going back to Fast 5, they do not care about civilian lives. I don't care if they looked ahead and saw empty cars parked in the shoulders. They killed people. Then at one point they send a car. There is a building being flanked by two roads, and they magged it enough to send one car through the building. That killed 7 people.
Severely injured, at least.
You got hit by a car. Flying car,
I mean, to be
right?
fair, all the bad guys they kill, or the bad guys they throw out of cars and explode. The one dude literally gets explodes from a grenade.
In the air, thankfully. not on the ground where you might hit or hurt other people. God forbid.
Yeah.
They don't care about that.
Yeah. No, definitely.
That was happenstance. I don't care. And this isn't a critique. It's just
it's just funny to think about.
They just don't care. Like, because if they think about it, how they would prevent it, you're going back to Batman v Superman, where it's like, that's a deserted part of Gotham. No one's lived there forever. You know what I mean? They have to set up, like, no one's here in London now.
Like, even Avengers at one point said, like, a lot of people died in New York City that day.
And then they made it a plot point of like, or even the Sokovia thing, they made that a plot point of Civil War. Like, hey, we fucking killed a lot of people saving everyone. Like, maybe we need to change things. This movie doesn't give a shit, and I don't care.
It's funny to think about. It's even when we've played Sonic games like Sonic Adventure 2, where you're
oh my god, yeah,
you're in Los Angeles there, and you're just destroying cars. There's a fucking truck behind it. Yeah, like who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares about civilians?
But yeah, I feel like that satisfied me enough for the action's sake, and didn't feel like they were doing the same thing over and over again. At one point, they turned the magnets on to be repulsors, but I'm like, magnets repulse other magnets, not metal. You know what I mean?
A magnet. Listen.
Magnets attract metal.
Right? Not a magnet expert. I just know that when
they
I
do
got
not
the COVID
repel
vaccine,
metal.
when I got the COVID vaccine, I also was magnetized.
Maybe it's great that they waited till this movie to air after that, you know?
Honestly, how hilarious This movie will never be political. These movies will never be political in any way. But how hilarious would it have been if like someone made a vaccine joke and they got stuck to the...
Oh my god. The mRNA vaccine I got in the 90s did the same thing
like,
to
even
me
if they
once.
did a gag of it where the guy, like, you know, they turn on the magnet and the guy pretends that his hand gets, like, stuck to the wall. And he's like, oh, like, what's going on? He's like, I got the COVID vaccine. I'm just kidding. Like, just, like, fucks with those people.
In a reshoot. Yeah. So I thought that was satisfying enough. But I'd like to talk about John Cena. So when we did our non-spoiler thoughts, we talked about how... I mentioned that I didn't think it was worth it overall. I don't think his thing was serious enough, and I feel like it was wasted opportunity. If anything, I feel like it was wasted opportunity. What I wanted from this story was it to be personal. His long lost brother is back out for revenge, and he's come to get him. Honest to God, what I kind of want is a combination of this movie and Fate of the Furious. I want John Cena, his brother, to have kidnapped his kid. And that's why Vin Diesel is going crazy. I wanted this to be a personal story. Instead, ultimately, is just the world is going to get hacked. Which I swear is what Charlize Theron did in the last 2 movies. You know what I mean?
She really wants to hack the world.
I feel like he's in it, and then like we get all the flashback stuff, and the acting on past Vin Diesel Dom isn't great. Or at least it doesn't feel like it's him. It honestly, really, I didn't realize it was him.
I didn't dislike it really. I don't think it was over the top amazing, but like when that scene first happened. By the way, this movie does have a couple twists I was not expecting, and this was one of them. Was I was not expecting at all there to be a flashback to when they were kids, and even if it was, I was not expecting it to be what the opening scene was, which was mentioned in the first Fast movie, where Vin beats the shit out of a dude and goes to jail because the dude killed his dad, which we find out wasn't even the case. But I thought it was fine. I thought actually the actor who played young John Cena looked more like John Cena than the dude who played Vin.
Yeah, 100%.
But I don't blame them. If anything, I'd rather they do that than them try to do a weird CGI thing, which we've seen some TV shows and movies do. Like I think
first really seen since Tron Legacy, where they de-age Kurt Russell, or not Kurt Russell, Jeff Bridges.
Dude. Like I get like the technology's starting to get there, and someone needs to try it, but I hate it. Like even like when they did the Mark Hamill shit in Mandalorian, spoilers for that. Like it looked fucking awful.
That's TV show budget, to be fair. I feel like the Carrie Fisher thing at the end of Rogue One was better than the Mark Hamill one.
But it still wasn't amazing.
No.
But like
I think it's also because we know they're old as fuck. We just know.
But yeah, but generally speaking, I'm glad they didn't do that, and I'm like, whatever. I thought they were fine.
I was confused.
And I thought it was going to be a one standalone thing. That was it. By the way, I thought it was just going to be the beginning.
Oh yeah.
The fact that they kept going back to it, I thought was surprising. And I guess because whether or not I liked it or loved it, or whether or not I loved it, doesn't really matter to me. I'm glad that they took that risk. Like I said, they generally have a recipe. To me, this is...
I wish that they showed other things to then show more about why he's back and what he's been doing.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm saying, like, I'm just glad that they changed up the pacing instead of it just being a straight linear story. There's a lot of flashbacks in this compared to the other films. So the recipe, I guess, is still the same, but maybe they added a little Tabasco sauce in it just to change it up a little bit. But generally, you're still eating this burger that is the Fast Saga.
Sure. What I wanted to say, though, movie opens up with that, and I was confused because, again, these are other people playing them as younger people. We open with, a race car race, and a Toretto helmet with the thing down is driving, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be the dad, which the rumor was Sylvester Stallone, which is not the case. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. But, like, okay. And then when we see him and it's not him, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's not Sylvester Stallone. And for some reason, my brain, hearing the voice and kind of seeing the face, I'm like, is that supposed to be a younger John Cena with, like, facial hair or something like that? And he's talking to Dom, and I'm like, for some reason, my brain was like, Dom was the younger brother. So, okay. And then they revealed John Cena was there and a different part of it, different things. I was very confused. But overall, I feel like they used a lot of this flashback stuff just to help not having to have their beef be in the present, to not have to explain what they did in the present, so they can show it all in flashbacks. And the unfortunate part is that what do they show in the present then? John Cena being a badass, although he does get his ass handed to him when he does fight Vin Diesel almost every time. Like, Vin Diesel still shows that he is the better one.
I think that one fight in the... Was it in the UK? Wherever. Somewhere in Europe.
Regardless, right.
Where
when they first meet.
When they were fighting in the apartment...
It's mostly Vin Diesel beating up
Vin,
John Cena.
Jumps out of nowhere, grabs him. They're just throwing each other outside windows. I'm like, you cannot plan what's below you. You guys just might die today. But that's kind of what the stakes.
There's a part where Michelle Rodriguez does that too, where she jumps with someone out a window and happens to land.
There's a couple moments where I'm just like, okay, we're doing this, huh?
Exactly. But in any case, what do we see with John Cena's character in the movie? Antagonistic, wants to do the thing where he rules the world using this other guy, whatever. I don't care about those people for the sake of this. Yeah, he's been doing this. He's been doing deals with Mr. Nobody forever and yada, yada, yada. Bad. And as soon as he's been double-crossed, okay, yeah, I'll help my brother. And then all of a sudden Vin Diesel is like, I'm going to fucking kill you. You killed Dad. And you came back in my life to hurt us, essentially. I'm going to kill you. He's just like, okay. And then he leaves.
He died / didn't die in underwater there, where that's where his, like, growth, I guess you can call it, happens, where Dom just like, oh yeah, our dad was poor.
Yeah. It's not like,
wow,
just
my
because
dad actually wasn't
when John Cena says that one line when he holds me up,
our dad was lying.
I am
to
now
me
having this
too.
vision that completes the narrative. What if I was lied to? But no, this is a soap opera. There are no lies when it's that serious. But I do actually want to point out him when Vin Diesel is falling through the water. There's a shot where he's falling down away from us, right? So he's kind of shrinking as he goes down. Then it cuts to a real profile, up close look on his face, as like with the bubbles around him. That is straight up how Kingdom Hearts 1 opens in its opening credits. And I swear we will see an edit where someone puts the opening music part over that with Vin Diesel falling.
Someone can get on that now.
Exactly. I want that right now.
Get that internet points.
I also want pictures of what Vin Diesel's fucking car he's been driving in the later half of this movie, because that's so fucking sick.
Oh, the matted like gray,
and the angles on it, and it's so it
looks
like squat.
It
like
honestly
low
looks
profile.
modern, but
it reminds me of like Knight Rider and like a cool Batmobile.
Honestly, it's what Elon Musk wishes his cars looked like.
100%.
Honestly,
100%.
It has that vibe of like this is the future look to it, but also
still has an American muscle roots to it.
Yeah,
Vin,
let us know what that is, dog.
Car. I fucking want his car.
Probably custom as fuck. It's probably worth millions of dollars.
There's like an engine in the back. What was behind him?
I'm gonna say that's European style too. I'm like, fuck, we need to bring that back.
The all-electric Ford F-150 has its boot in the front because there's no engine in the front space. It's like a trunk in the front of the car, in the front of the truck.
Sick.
And there's like a bunch of outlets in there.
A lot of the vehicles are cool in this.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of them. I think there was a Lamborghini, the purple Lamborghini. I think it was a Lamborghini at one point in
what's
her name
Steele's.
Was. Yeah, that was dope. I out of all the cars, I think that was my favorite one. I'm like, I would fuck with that if I could.
Yeah, I always like to look at what types of cars are the characters driving. Letty, motorcycle in a lot of the beginning, and awesome at it. Looked really cool. Yeah. Maybe it's because we played Wheelman recently, and the motorcycles clearly a bit more fun.
Cool. All right, motorcycles are cool. I get they're probably not the safest, but fuck it, they're cool.
If you're going fast, it's probably super fun.
Yeah.
Han was driving some orange car, and I'm trying to think if that was something that he drove in Tokyo Drift.
Very
or not.
similar. I'm sure it's a more modern take on it. I'm sure.
But at the very end of the movie,
Acura at one point too. I remember seeing the logo.
Very end of the movie, very end of the movie. What do we see? The Nissan Skyline, the blue Nissan Skyline. That's Paul Walker's car in those movies. It rolls up to the house, and I'm like, it's that fucking car. Of course, we love that car.
Yeah, I want to say too, like, even I'm glad that they're bringing more military vehicles in it. It isn't just always like, well, the fastest car we can drive or whatnot, or like that looks cool. Like, we had a couple different like tank-looking things or whatnot. I'm like, those could be
Yeah.
cool too, and I feel like they give them their own like shine in a way.
Weird missed opportunity for some humor, although I don't think it would have ever been misogynistic. Besides maybe just a joke of women can't drive, which obviously is not evident in the movie. But what's her name? Hacker girl. Is her name Ramirez?
Let me double check.
I forget what her name was. She was in 7 and 8, and she's in 9, and I forgot about
Ramsey.
her. Ramsey. Not Ramirez. What close name? Ramsey, when it's like revealed or whatever that she can't drive. And I'm like, there's so many opportunities for them to joke of like, wait, you can't drive? That's all we do. You got to at least learn how to drive a little. You don't have a license? How you don't know how to drive? Like there was opportunities for jokes there, and instead all she talks to about it is Vin Diesel.
Or one of them could have been like, I don't have a license either. Like, and like,
yeah.
Could have been Han or something who said that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a license either.
I'm sure, honest to God, all of they're probably all illegal. Like these people. You know what I mean? I don't care if super secret government is hiring for things. If they're trying to live a regular life, they're illegal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how much more we want to talk about this movie. I feel like we've mentioned pretty much everything.
I
But
think
do you have
there was
anything
one
that's
twist that really
still
got
pressing?
everybody, and that was Cypher. At
yeah.
the end, we thought she was dead, and it like just cuts to her, and everyone, and I think everyone was like, "Oh, like
Yeah.
we're not
Oh,
that we were
shit.
mad that she was dead or anything, more of just like, wow,
Oh yeah, she is
like,
that smart. Why
Yeah.
would she fly the plane?
yeah,
You know what I mean? She's a hacker. She's gonna fly it as a drone.
yeah,
Um,
like something not obvious, but you're like makes sense, but you're also still like,
yeah.
holy shit,
She's been our villain for a few movies now, our reoccurring villain. And obviously, if 10 is supposed to be the last one, then obviously she will be a major part in the last one. So that'll be cool. But this movie didn't really use her much other than just to show us that she's still around and still a threat, to remind
she
us
made it
that
seem
she
like she was
exists.
playing everybody, but it really didn't seem like that way at all. Most of the time, like she's like, "Oh, I knew this was all going to happen," which she was kind of right, but also felt like she just smooth talked her way out of getting out of the box. It wasn't like she knew that this would happen. This 10 steps ahead kind of thing. But
Yeah, do you have
No.
anything else? you wanna add?
like I said, most of my negatives are just like one more negative. With,
We got to
I
talk
guess-
about Vin Diesel.
Yeah, but one negative thing I want to talk about again with Jacob is that I kind of wish he died or something.
Yeah.
Like, and that's how Dominic learns that like family is family, even if there was a
Yeah.
like maybe he
he
knew,
turns for no reason, really.
or like even like maybe that scene could have still have happened, but it didn't solidify for him until he died or something. Like that's where I thought I
Yeah.
was like, because they kept talking about no one's invincible too, and I thought like if it wasn't going to be them, it was going to be him. And no, he just
Yeah.
drives away and does like once again the soap opera-ness of just like, someone gave me a 10-second car. Here's I'm like,
Oh, that's
whatever.
an awesome reference to the first movie.
It's awesome, but I'm just like, of course. I'm like, fucking of course. Like,
Yeah.
y'all
I
suck.
mean, we
hate
both
you.
know the real reason is because they want to bring him back for a future thing. It's, maybe not in the next movie. I don't know what they're going to do with the
I'm
franchise
okay
going forward.
with them
but
doing what they've been doing, like in memoriam. I think it is that what they're doing right now is fine, and I think I'm happy that like they really want to make sure his character's alive. The actor isn't alive. I think it is more respectful. But if they do somehow bring him back,
Paul Walker?
yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. Unless it's like his
but-
brother. Like I know his brother did some of the scenes for
Furious 7,
yeah.
right? Yeah. That
And
does
I'm
kind
glad-
of bring me
yeah,
into
I don't know.
Jordana Brewster's character, Mia. Doesn't really do a whole bunch other than just she probably wanted to be back in these movies, and it sucked for her that like she had story reasons to not be in the movies anymore for something that has nothing to do with her, and it sucks and it's unfortunate.
This one
That's the reason why she's back. But it doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense because the reason why they went is so that life wouldn't hurt them or their kid.
But I think they try to say that like because this is my brother, I need to be.
It's
involved.
personal.
Which I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
So then is she going to be in the next one? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Is
She also
John
didn't
Cena
really
going to be
do
in the next
much.
one? I have no idea.
I liked this movie though quite a bit. I liked all of the action stuff. That's why we're there. I liked a lot of the character moments. That's why we're there.
Can we talk about
the
Michael
reveals?
Rooker being Buddy though, the mechanic dude.
Oh yeah, that's right.
As soon as I saw,
brief scene.
I didn't notice that at first, but when Vin Diesel goes returns,
yeah.
I'm just like, I forgot how much I love him, dude. Like I just like, especially his role in Guardians, like,
yeah,
one of the best characters in Guardians in my opinion. But he's always in like these movies, and or like not these movies, but just like he'll pop up in movies I don't expect him to be in, and he always does a good job, even if it's a small role. So that was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can talk about Vin.
Yeah, so Vin Diesel's acting, you said something at the beginning of the spoiler-free segment about how he takes a step back to let others shine, whether that was intentional or not. Like, the character takes that. Vin Diesel, yeah, I feel like...
Even though he was the main character in this at the same time, but he definitely toned back, I feel like.
Due to how unfortunately it was handled in terms of John Cena's character's personal story involvement with Vin... And the fact that most of that was actually handled by actors that weren't them, younger versions of them, to be quite honest, it honestly felt like I could look at this and be like, well, yeah, he's not as deep or involved because his story's done. Because F8 was all about him and the kid and his realizations and yada, 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 and family and what the lengths he'll go to. And, like, yes, this was a personal story. Family comes back to bite him in the ass or haunt him, a ghost from his past, and the family he neglected to mention, yada, yada, yada. But it's because of the story, I don't think Vin Diesel had much opportunity to do anything with that. Yeah. Therefore, it did feel like he was the lead of the crew. His decisions were the decisions. And I feel like he was great in the movie, but he wasn't as good as F8 because there wasn't much of a drive. Again, like all of the character growth and all that with him and John Cena happened with the other actors playing their kids. You know, because besides the very ending, their encounters are chance, essentially. Chance beat-em-ups. When they first see each other, it's like a shock, and then they fight. And there's much like sitting around talking.
Like, we can't kill each other right now.
Right, a standoff, and then Interpol holds him up and takes him away. Yeah. Then in the very end, Vin Diesel, like someone gave me a 10-second car and a second chance. I should do the same family because I noticed you got attacked by your own people, and why were you doing that again? You know what I mean? Whatever. Yeah, I don't think this is definitely not his worst Fast and Furious performance by far. Not as good as F8. Straight
or
up.
F1. Honestly, I like that. Well, once again, it's just the character. I think it's just what the character was given.
Although I do really like that wordless, him drowning and having the visions thing. I liked him specifically in that. I liked a lot. I thought that was done really well.
Honestly,
really well.
that is anime as fuck. I feel like that's happened in every anime at some point. Someone is drowned or like gets fucked up, gets like beat up or something, and in their
unconsciousness, they transition through different scenes and
I know we kind of just said that we didn't like it, but I think it's the reason we didn't like it was because it felt not out of place, but just that was the reason why all of a sudden he's good with John Cena. Like it should be more than just that scene. Yeah. That could be one of the scenes.
I agree with you. They should have killed John Cena, and that should have been a reminder that family is family. Also, wasn't the tagline of this movie "Family is more than blood" or something like that?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen
a poster, something about that. But
yeah, I also thought maybe he would. I don't want to derail from the Vin stuff again, but my brain's just going back here again. Where like, yeah, if they killed John Cena off, maybe Cypher kills John Cena off in front of him or something.
Yeah.
And then it ends there.
You make her, because I 100% agree, because she is a Team Rocket. From what I remember now, she's Team Rocket. Yes, she kidnapped his son in the previous movie. It's been years since I've seen that movie. Maybe not years. No, it's been years since I've seen that movie. But like in this movie, she is just backseating the whole time. You really want to establish that, like, no, she is the villain of these movies now. You know what I mean? Have her kill John Cena. You're 100% right. They should have done that.
And I think it would have been cool. I still wish this movie didn't end on a happy note. Because I really thought this movie was going to stem into Fast 10. but I guess not. So I guess F10 is gonna be its own.
Also, about that happy no ending. All the bad guys know where that house is because remember Jason Statham blows it up in the beginning of Furious 7. He knows where they live. Don't go back there. But
also,
besides
there's
that,
gang activity.
straight up, they had a friend in the first Fast and Furious movie that was shot in front of the house by a gang.
Dude with a Tech 9 or some shit. Yeah.
Or a Mac 10, something.
On a motorcycle.
Besides that, the happy ending at the end. They bring in Lucas Black's character Sean and Bow Wow and the other guy that was working with them. They don't.
Who I looked up, by the way, he was in Tokyo Drift.
Okay, makes sense. But there was more people too. There was a girl that was really into mechanics, and they didn't bring her back. I don't know, whatever. They was really short. To be quite honest, if you were one of those kids, because remember they were kids in Tokyo Drift, and like someone hit you up after college or whatever, be like, "Hey, we're making rocket engines on the back of this car. You want to join?" I'm like, no, I haven't seen you guys.
I like
in years.
my office job. Thanks.
Yeah, I like living in Tokyo and not Germany because I speak Japanese only. You know what I mean? But
they also seem like they were living at the airfield, by the way. Like that, they didn't seem like they had a house.
Whatever. But it was a great reveal of like, wow, and you didn't even know at the beginning. I had to be like, that's fucking.
Yeah, it took me a second. I'm like,
Sean.
Oh my god, you're right. Yeah.
Because I'm like, if they're going to bring back Han, then like what are they going? They gotta at least reference him, you know. But in any case, they're at the dinner party. No one there knows them except Vin Diesel briefly and Han, and they're just a part of the crew now. I love it. I doubt they will not be in the next movies. 100%, they will not be there.
Han.
Oh no, just Sean.
Oh yeah,
Bow Wow.
This is definitely
maybe Sean. Bow Wow, no. The other guy.
I know. I think it was definitely a like, hey, let's get the whole entourage back because it feels like not a pinnacle movie, but just
let's have a Tokyo Drift
one.
Mini reunion.
Because I feel like the last F10 is going to be just the main group. And F9 is kind of a like, to me, this movie is just kind of a like a celebration of the other films. Mm-hmm. You know, and then I think F10 is going to be very like, this is the end, but we want the main characters to have it. Like, this is just.
You know how they do that, right?
Oh,
you know how they do that. Remember how Fast and Furious or Fast and Furious 4, Fast and Furious, the fourth one, almost essentially opens with Letty being killed. That's how you do it. Kill Tyrese, kill Tej, or kill Roman.
I don't know.
Kill
I just
Tej,
feel like it's just not going to happen. I just like if it didn't happen in this movie at the end or something like that, and clearly based off the ending.
With Jason Statham,
it makes me think that. And Han,
I don't know if that was
also why is Han killing him if it was all a setup?
Well, Jason Statham wasn't a part of it. Remember, Jason Statham was out for blood there. He thought he killed Han.
Technically, didn't kill him. So how is there beef if he actually didn't kill me?
Right, but he wanted to kill you. He wanted to kill you.
The setup is that good that you got to do who actually wanted to kill him.
He wasn't a part of the setup. Do you remember?
I know, but like it's such that's how ridiculous the Mr. Nobody setup the retcon is.
Like, I wonder though,
crazy.
Because The Rock isn't going to be in Fast 10. He's just not. He has some weird beef with Vin Diesel, and although it seems like they patched it up or whatever, he's just.
I didn't read the article, but I did see an article about it. I'm going to read it before we do VNN. For our next episode of Chronicles of Diesel, where we do Wheelman. But I don't know anything about that. It might
regardless,
also just be a money
he's just
thing,
not
too.
going to be in it. And like they're separated into different, franchises now. Hobbs and Shaw. I'm not sure if that applies to Jason Statham if he's stuck with The Rock and Hobbs and Shaw. And therefore, is this a tease about Hobbs and Shaw 2, or is this just a fun nod of like
Hobbs and Shaw and Han?
Hans and Schlobs and Hobbs?
What would it be? HSH, dude.
Hobbs and Han and Shaw.
You call it Fast and Furious HSH or something like that, or flip it. I don't know.
Fast and Furious SHH.
But the whole movie's there's no it's a silent film. They're super artsy out of nowhere.
Han, the actor playing Han, I don't remember what his name is. Unfortunately, could not keep up with The Rock and Jason Statham. like 100%. So he would not be in that movie in terms of on that level. 100%. Hobbs and Shaw is the franchise.
Make it a
and
noir
also,
film, and it's silent, and it's black and white, and you call it Fast and Furious.
yeah. Totally didn't know that was going to be Jason Statham boxing there.
No,
At first,
I thought
when
it
he
would be
was
the next
distant
villain or something.
And maybe this is me wishing. But about the villain, I thought when it first popped up and like the body shape
Captain
and all
America.
that, I'm like, is that Charlize Theron boxing? And being like, okay, I'm ready to throw down now. Okay, no, that's definitely a bulkier person, probably a man. You know, it's Jason Statham. Okay, like, but I'm like, who is this guy?
What if it was Chris Evans and it was like that was a tie-in to Captain America? Like they're making a reference to it because of his boxing at the end of Captain America, the end credit scene where Tony Stark gives him a call or something. Or I don't remember the exact thing, but like I just remember that scene for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, we're getting Chris Evans. Like, okay, but no, yeah, I thought it was either going to be that or just a new villain we haven't seen. Or I don't know, but yeah. I guess it's either going to be related or it's just them closing the Han gets his revenge thing.
Yeah, it could have been just a goofy, like, obviously Jason Statham's not dead, and obviously they're not going to fight, and Han will die. So I think that's more of just a goofy, like, oh yeah, we know how weird this is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People definitely did not like the fact that Jason Statham was invited to the barbecue at the end of Fate of the Furious. How the hell would they invite him to be a part of the family? He killed Han. All right, we bring Han back. All right, here's a nod
He's
to
not a murderer anymore.
Exactly. Exactly.
Vin knew.
God. He was, yeah. Fate of the Furious was so great. Honestly, when I think about that now, remember the scene where it's Jason Statham saving the baby on the plane and he's fighting with the baby strapped to his chest or whatever?
So ridiculous. So ridiculous.
Honest to God. And remember The Rock and Jason Statham breaking out of jail together in that movie? That was that movie.
Yeah.
That's why we got Hobbs and Shaw. That movie is much better than this one, even though I like this. I'm just thinking back now. Can we fast forward to like the end of next year?
I think the comedy is better too in that movie than this one. There's some ha-has and some ha-has, but generally speaking, I wasn't like
There's
dying.
a lot of ha-ha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, big cool reveals, bring back certain characters, but that's neat. So I think we'll wrap up here. This has been an awesome time talking about the Fate of the Furious' sequel, F9. I don't know why I called it that. F9, the Fast Saga. We had a lot of fun watching this movie. Vin Diesel's still on the top of his game. He's not slowing down.
I think we should do a prediction on what the next one should be, though. Before we end this,
What it's called?
Or just what it is, like just anything. We have a whole probably year or two before F10 comes out, because I know if you follow VNN, we know that he's been sitting down with Justin Lin, and they've been writing the script. So they haven't actually filmed anything yet, so we have time.
I think it'll be a combination of things we've seen prior. I think just like how Furious 7 opened up with basically Jason Statham is going to kill all of them one by one. He already did it to Han. He delivered a package to the house and blew it up. He blew up their house, right? I think it's going to be that type of story, but it's Charlize Theron, and we will get characters killed in the beginning. I honestly think Tej.
I want that to happen, but I don't think it will. I just think they refuse to.
I think it's a personal story with her as the actual villain. I don't want a world-ending thing because we've gotten that so many fucking times now.
You don't
Hack
want
the
an
planet.
asteroid coming down.
I mean, even Hobbs and Shaw was something like that again. I think it's going to be a personal story with her doing it, and it's not going to be the end of the world. I think it's honestly a fight for the family's life type of thing.
Okay. I'm going to go with, like I said, the series has never been really political. Maybe you could see some social commentary here and there in terms of cops or that kind of thing. People doing crime or whatnot to survive. Whatever. I think since this is the new thing now, and I actually mentioned it when we were sitting down waiting for the movie to start, is the new thing now where we see these movie companies, being like, yeah, we can't stop climate change, So at least we can make movies about him and how it's gonna fucking suck, like in 10 years.
Jesus.
So you know what they're gonna do, and Battlefield 2049's doing this, 2042, whatever the fuck. Everyone's picking 2040 for some reason. There's gonna be, I don't know what the plot is gonna be, but I'm gonna tell you, there's gonna be a setting, calling it now, where there's like a tornado or some shit, and they have to like drive through a tornado or like fight a hurricane.
What's crazy is I feel like they already did that, but I don't think so.
No, that's what I'm saying. That like we can't go to space. I don't think they're gonna go to space again. I think it'd be too ridiculous if they go to space. Like all of them go to space.
Yeah.
I think they pushed the boundaries like just far enough.
To be quite frank, that was probably the only way they could still have cars be the thing that does it.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think it has to be something on Earth, and I think if they're going to do a world-ending thing, Day After Tomorrow happens, and there's maybe not Day After Tomorrow level, but just like they're in like Kansas or something for some reason, and then a tornado happens to come down, and they're fighting, Cypher while in like some vehicle or something, and then there's a fucking tornado, and like they're just trying to survive for like 15 minutes, and it's loud, it's crazy. Because they always say that the tornado sounds like a train engine. Maybe there's a train, and a car's fighting the train, and there's a fucking tornado. I think that's going to happen. That's no specific, but in terms of the plot, yeah, I think it's just going to be Cypher's out for blood. I kind of agree with you, and it's just going to be personal. I don't think anyone's going to die, though. I think it's going to be a happy ending because that's how soap operas end most of the time, and I feel like it has to stick to its recipe. I would love for it to not to, and it get serious all of a sudden, but I think we're too far in at this point for them to change up the recipe, personally. So
Got it. Well, this has been another episode of the Chronicles of Diesel, a special one, off the chain, off the hook. We'll catch you next week for a regular episode of the Sonic Movie Show. Follow the show on Twitter at Sonic Movie Show. Follow me on Twitter at Ethan Absolutely. Devin is on Twitter at Cursona Fun. And let us know what you thought about F9, the Fast Saga, and what do you think about the 10th movie, what it's going to be about. We'll be going back to regular episodes of the Chronicles of Diesel on the first of every month, as well as weekly Sonic movie stuff. So we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Jacob!
What is it with you? What do you got, a death wish or something?
That's what it takes. I just want to race. Ride or die, remember?